Hey there, and welcome back to the Illuminated Shelf podcast, your go-to channel for inspirational self-help and spiritual book insights. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Peter. In each episode, we dive into the key insights, practical tips, and a little author background to guide you on your journey. Your support means the world to us. Be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any new episodes.
Ready to explore today's book topic? Let's get started.
Welcome to our deep dive today. We're going to be exploring Neville Goddard
Oh, cool.
and his book, The Feeling is the Secret. Have you heard of this one?
You know, I've heard the name and the title, but I've never actually gotten around to reading it.
It really delves into some pretty, mind-bending ideas, you know?
I like mind bending.
Particularly this idea that our thoughts and feelings actually shape our reality.
Okay.
And, I know that might sound kind of out there at first, but
Yeah. I mean, who hasn't thought about that at some point, right?
right. So stick with us, and you might be surprised by what we uncover.
Yeah.
What I find really fascinating about Goddard is that he doesn't just present these ideas as these abstract concepts.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he actually draws these parallels between his teachings and biblical passages.
Oh, wow. So he's
Yeah.
kind of offering like a unique interpretation of that ancient wisdom.
Exactly.
Interesting.
So we're not just talking about, like, self-help here.
Right.
There's, like, a deeper philosophical and even spiritual layer to this.
Okay.
So let's unpack one of Goddard's central concepts. This is the law of consciousness.
Okay. I'm ready. I mean, I'm curious. Law of consciousness.
It's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
Goddard suggests that consciousness is like the ultimate reality.
Okay.
So everything that we experience right in the physical world
Mm-hmm.
is actually a manifestation of our inner world.
So instead of our thoughts like being shaped by our reality, it's kind of the other way around. It's like our reality is a reflection of what's happening inside of us.
Precisely.
Whoa.
And, the driving force behind this manifestation is our subconscious mind.
Okay.
Goddard describes it as a stream dividing into two parts.
Okay.
So we have the conscious mind, right? That's responsible for our everyday thinking.
Yeah.
And then we've got the subconscious mind, and that's like the creative powerhouse. That's what brings our thoughts and feelings into being.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. So like these two parts of the mind are working together.
Yeah.
So is it kind of like, I don't know, like the conscious mind is like throwing out ideas and then the subconscious mind is kind of catching them and giving them form in our lives.
That's a great analogy.
Awesome.
Goddard actually uses the terms masculine and feminine principles
Okay.
to kind of describe this dynamic.
Okay.
So the conscious mind is like the masculine principle, right? It's generating ideas.
Right.
Whereas the subconscious is like the feminine principle. It receives those ideas
Yeah.
and then makes them a reality.
Wow.
So, if we want to change our reality, right,
Mm-hmm.
we need to change what we're feeding our subconscious mind.
Oh, okay. So that makes sense. But how do we do that?
Well, that's the question.
Yeah. It's not like you can just tell your subconscious what to do.
You're right. We can't command it, but we can persuade it.
Okay.
And according to Goddard, the most powerful way to do that is through our feelings.
Feelings.
He really emphasizes this point that feelings are like the language of the subconscious.
Okay.
So it's not just about like thinking positive thoughts,
Right.
We have to truly feel the reality we desire as if it's already happened.
Oh, okay. So the subconscious mind doesn't actually like question our feelings.
No, not all.
It just kind of accepts them as true and starts to manifest them into our experience.
Exactly.
Wow.
So, I mean, think about it. If you're constantly dwelling on, negative emotions,
Oh, yeah.
you're essentially giving your subconscious mind a blueprint
Right.
to just create more negativity.
Oh, so it's like placing an order with the universe for more of what you don't want.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And Goddard even believed that, unexpressed emotions, particularly negative ones,
Yeah.
can like fester and manifest as physical ailments.
Oh, wow. That's pretty powerful.
It is. So, feeling good isn't just about happiness, right?
Really?
It's about aligning ourselves with what we want to create.
Okay.
But then how do we actually impress these feelings?
Yeah. How do you get it in there?
Right. How do we get them into our subconscious mind?
Yeah.
Well, Goddard highlights two powerful gateways to the subconscious.
Oh.
And those are sleep
Okay.
and prayer.
Oh, interesting. So, like, those moments before you drift off to sleep,
Yeah.
they're not just for, like, counting sheep. You can actually use that time to plant those seeds of our desires in our subconscious mind.
Precisely. Goddard even interprets um, the biblical Song of Solomon as an allegory
Okay.
for this interaction between the conscious and subconscious minds during sleep.
Wow.
He describes it as, a nocturnal dance,
Oh, that's kind of a cool way to put it.
right, between these two aspects of ourselves.
Yeah.
And then what about prayer?
Okay. Yeah.
Does Goddard offer like any specific techniques
Yeah.
for using prayer to influence the subconscious? He does.
Okay.
He describes a prayer technique that involves entering this like relaxed passive state,
Mm-hmm.
similar to that feeling you experience just before you fall asleep.
Okay. Yeah.
It's about quieting that conscious mind
Yeah.
and creating a space for the subconscious to kind of take center stage.
Gotcha.
So it's not about like begging or pleading for what we want,
Right.
but rather entering this state of receptivity
Yeah.
and feeling as if our prayer is already answered.
So it's about aligning our feelings with the reality that we want.
Yes.
Creating like a sense of inner harmony that kind of resonates with that creative power of the subconscious.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. But feeling as if is only part of it, right?
There's more.
Yeah,
I'm sensing that this is where belief comes in.
you're on the right track. Belief is like the cornerstone of this whole process.
Okay.
Goddard emphasizes that true belief isn't just intellectual agreement.
Mm.
It's a feeling of certainty,
Okay.
like a knowingness deep within you.
So it's not just about thinking like, I want this, right?
Right.
It's about shifting our belief to like, I am this or I have this,
Mm,
even if it hasn't manifested in, the physical world yet.
exactly.
Goddard actually uses that biblical passage, to him who has, more will be given,
Okay.
to explain that we attract what we already believe ourselves to be.
Okay.
He suggests that what we believe, we become.
Whoa.
This kind of making me rethink like my whole approach to personal growth,
Yeah.
It seems that transforming our beliefs is just essential
Mm.
for creating lasting change.
Yeah, yeah. But if our reality is truly like a reflection of our inner world, what about like all those external circumstances, the stuff that just seems beyond our control?
Right, right. How does Goddard address that?
That's a great question, and one that we'll definitely get into
Okay.
as we continue our deep dive.
Okay.
But for now, just consider this. While we may not always be able to, control those external events,
Mhm.
we can always choose how we respond to them internally.
Well,
That's where our true power lies.
That's already given me a lot to think about.
Yeah.
It seems like Goddard is saying, like, we should shift our focus, right?
Mm-hmm.
From trying to control the uncontrollable to mastering like our inner state.
Right.
But how do we actually do that?
Yeah. Well, stay tuned. We'll uncover more of Goddard's insights
Okay.
and some more practical techniques in the next part of our deep dive.
I can't wait to continue this. This is definitely a conversation that's going to stay with me
For sure.
long after we're done.
I think so.
Welcome back. We're continuing our deep dive into The Feeling is the Secret by Neville Goddard.
Yeah.
And last time we left off with this idea
Yeah.
that, we might not always control like external events,
Right.
but we can always choose how we respond internally.
Yeah, that is a powerful concept to kind of grasp, It suggests we actually have a lot more agency than we realize.
Right.
Even when life is throwing us all those curveballs.
Definitely makes you rethink like this whole notion of victimhood, right?
Yeah.
And to take a closer look at our own role in creating our experiences.
Oh, absolutely.
But, practically, how do we actually apply this principle
Right.
in our like daily lives,
Yeah.
especially when we're faced with, challenges that just
Yeah.
trigger these like negative emotions in us?
Totally. I mean, that's where Goddard's insights, I think, become even more fascinating.
Okay.
He really emphasizes this power of feeling as if.
Okay.
And not just in terms of, our desires,
Mhm.
but also in how we perceive
Yeah.
and how we react to different situations.
Okay.
He reminds us that that subconscious mind, it
Right.
doesn't distinguish between what's real
Okay.
and what we vividly imagine.
So even if like something unpleasant happened in the past,
Yeah.
we can actually revise that experience
Yeah.
just by changing our feelings and perceptions about it.
Exactly. It's not about denying, what happened. It's
Oh.
more about like shifting that internal narrative
Yeah.
and the emotional charge that's associated with it.
Okay, could you give us like an example of how this revision technique might work?
Yeah, sure, totally. So let's say, you had a job interview
Oh.
and it didn't go as well as you'd hoped.
Right.
Instead of, replaying that experience with feelings of disappointment, maybe self-doubt,
Right.
you can use your imagination
Okay.
to like revisit that interview and kind of mentally rewrite the script.
So, like, I could imagine myself walking into that interview with confidence,
Totally. Yeah.
like answering all the questions eloquently
Yeah.
and just like feeling that genuine connection, you know?
Exactly. And by vividly imagining that and feeling it,
You're essentially reprogramming that subconscious mind.
Wow.
You're giving it a new experience,
Okay.
a more empowering one.
It's almost like giving ourselves like a second chance, right?
Right.
To create a more favorable reality.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
But it does raise a question for me, though.
Okay.
What if, someone uses this power of the subconscious mind
Yeah.
for like unethical purposes,
Right.
to manipulate others
Right.
or to harm others?
Yeah. That's a valid concern.
Right.
Goddard did address that, though.
Okay.
He emphasized that that true power comes with responsibility.
Right, right.
And he believed that these principles, they should be used for good.
Yeah.
And that genuine happiness comes from aligning ourselves with the highest good for all.
Yeah, so it's not just about, personal gain.
Right.
It's about recognizing like our interconnectedness
Yeah.
and using that power to create a more harmonious world, right, for everyone.
Yeah.
Goddard believed that the universe operates according to like a law of harmony.
Okay.
So when we use our power, for selfish reasons or harmful purposes, we're ultimately just creating disharmony and suffering
Right.
in our own lives.
That makes sense. Yeah, it's a reminder that our thoughts and our feelings, they have a ripple effect, impacting not just our own reality, but, the world around us too.
But let's go back to this idea of impressing our subconscious mind
Okay.
with our desires.
Yeah.
We talked about sleep and prayer, right? Being these gateways to the subconscious.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on like how those work?
Yeah, totally. So remember, we compared sleep to like planting seeds of intention.
Right, right.
Goddard, he takes an analogy like a step further.
Okay.
He suggests that those moments, right, just before we drift off, they're particularly potent
Okay.
for influencing the subconscious.
Why is that? Is it because our conscious mind is less active?
Exactly.
So our subconscious becomes more receptive?
It's as if like that guard at the gate of our subconscious is distracted for a minute.
Right.
Giving us an opportunity to slip past and deliver our message directly.
Oh, I like that.
He even interprets the biblical Song of Solomon as like an allegory for this, nocturnal interplay between the conscious and subconscious.
That's fascinating. So how can we use this practically?
Well, imagine, yourself drifting off to sleep.
Okay.
You're feeling totally relaxed and peaceful.
Yeah.
And as you enter that state of drowsiness, you kind of gently bring to mind that feeling of already having what you desire.
Okay.
You visualize it, you sense it, and you truly embody the emotions of it.
So if I'm aiming to like, manifest a new job, I wouldn't just like picture myself sitting at a desk.
Right.
I would imagine the feeling of excitement
Yeah.
as I walk into my, new office.
Right.
The satisfaction of engaging in, work that I love and the joy of contributing my talents.
Precisely. The more vivid and emotionally charged that visualization is, the more effectively you'll impress that subconscious mind with the reality you're seeking to create.
Okay, and what about prayer? How does Goddard's approach to prayer differ from that traditional concept of like petitioning a higher power?
Right. Well, Goddard's view on prayer aligns with his with his core teaching,
Okay.
that our consciousness is the ultimate creator.
Right.
And so he sees prayer as a powerful technique for aligning our feelings with the reality that we want. It's not about like begging for something outside of ourselves.
So it's not about like pleading with a deity to grant our wishes,
Right.
but rather about entering that state of inner harmony
Exactly.
that resonates with that creative power within us.
Yeah, he actually describes a prayer technique
Okay.
that involves entering a state of like relaxed receptivity,
Right.
similar to that feeling you experience before sleep.
Okay.
It's about quieting that conscious mind chatter
Right.
and creating that space for the subconscious to take over.
So the key is to like feel as if our prayer is already answered.
Yes.
To embody those emotions,
Yeah.
and sensations associated with our desires as if they're already a reality.
Precisely. It's about aligning our inner state with that outer reality we're trying to manifest.
This is definitely challenging some of my preconceived notions about prayer.
Yeah.
But it is also incredibly empowering
Totally.
to realize like we have this creative power within us.
Yeah. And as we delve deeper into the feeling is the secret, we'll uncover even more practical insights,
Okay.
to how to apply these principles
Okay.
in our own lives.
This is already a lot to digest,
Yeah.
And I'm sensing there's still like so much more to explore.
Yeah.
But before we dive into the final part of our deep dive,
Okay.
I'm curious to hear like your thoughts on this.
Yeah.
If our reality is, truly a reflection of our internal state, does that mean like we're solely responsible
Right.
for everything that happens to us?
Yeah.
What about like fate, destiny, simply being in the wrong place at the wrong time?
Yeah, that's a profound question,
Yeah.
and one that delves into the very essence of like free will. The nature of reality.
Right.
I mean, it's a question that's been pondered
Yeah,
by philosophers and spiritual seekers for centuries.
it is.
And it's one that we'll explore
Yeah.
in more depth as we continue our deep dive into Neville Goddard's work.
This is definitely a cliffhanger. I'm eager to unravel this mystery and delve deeper into that intersection of, personal responsibility and the seemingly unpredictable nature of life.
Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into the feeling is the secret. So last time we were talking about if we're creating our reality with our thoughts and feelings,
Right.
What about those things that seem totally outside our control?
It's a big question, right? It really gets at the heart of what Goddard's teaching. And his answer might surprise you.
Okay.
He doesn't deny that external events or circumstances exist.
Right.
He just suggests that we shift our perspective and how we relate to them.
So instead of feeling like, we're at the mercy of fate,
Right.
we could choose to view those challenges as opportunities, right?
Yeah, for growth and transformation.
Yeah.
That's the idea.
It's about recognizing that we may not be able to control, what happens, but we can always choose how we respond.
Right.
And that response, that internal shift, that can have a huge impact on how those events unfold and ultimately, how they shape our reality.
Like that old saying, right? Life is 10% what happens to me and 90% how I react to it.
Exactly.
But how do we practically apply that
right.
when faced with, situations that just feel truly overwhelming or unfair?
That's where Goddard's techniques for impressing the subconscious, really come into play.
Okay.
We talked about the power of feeling as if, right, when it comes to our desires, but that same principle can be applied to how we perceive and react to any situation.
So even if something happened in the past
Yeah.
that caused pain, disappointment, we can actually revise our experience of it
Yes.
just by changing our feelings and perceptions about it.
Exactly. Goddard actually called this technique revision. It's not about denying what happened, but it's about consciously choosing to revisit that experience
Right.
in our imagination and re-scripting it
Good.
with a more positive and empowering outcome.
So by doing that, we're not just rewriting the past, right?
Right.
We're also influencing our present and future.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's pretty mind-blowing.
It is.
It's like we actually have the power
We do.
to create a more fulfilling reality, not just by focusing on what we want to attract, but also by transforming, how we relate to past experiences.
Totally.
But then doesn't that raise a question?
Yeah.
If we're constantly revising our past, are we in danger of losing touch with reality?
It's a valid concern, but Goddard was very clear that revision isn't about creating false memories or living in a fantasy world. It's about reclaiming our power to choose how we want to feel, how we want to perceive, regardless of what happened in the past. It's about shifting our internal state from one of powerlessness to one of empowerment.
So it's not about denying reality, but it's about choosing to focus on, the aspects that empower us and help us, move forward in a more positive way.
Exactly. Taking ownership of our inner world, right? Recognizing that our perception really does shape our experience.
This has been such a fascinating exploration.
It has.
It's really made me rethink, what reality even is. And the power that we each hold within us to shape our experiences.
We do.
But before we wrap up, if our thoughts and feelings are so powerful, shouldn't we all be living these extraordinary lives? Why do so many people struggle to manifest their desires?
That is a great question, and it's one that Goddard addresses in his work. He believed that the biggest obstacle to us manifesting our desires is often our own limiting beliefs. We may intellectually understand the principles, but if we don't truly believe deep down that we are worthy, that we are capable of having what we desire, those beliefs can sabotage us.
So it's not just about understanding the concept, It's about cultivating this feeling of belief in ourselves and our ability to create what we desire.
Exactly. It's about aligning our thoughts, our feelings, our beliefs with the reality that we want to experience.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the key takeaway you want our listeners to remember?
I think the most important message here is this. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are a powerful creator. You have the ability to shape your reality by mastering your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs.
That's really powerful.
It is.
And I think, it's a message that can truly transform lives.
I agree. I would encourage our listeners, explore Goddard's work, experiment with these principles in your own lives. See what happens when you start to consciously choose your thoughts, Cultivate those positive feelings and align your beliefs with what you want. You might be surprised.
Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey into The Feeling is the Secret. We hope this deep dive has sparked your curiosity and maybe inspired you to explore the infinite possibilities within.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. And remember, like Goddard said, the world is a mirror reflecting back to you what you first project onto it. So choose to project love, joy, abundance, watch as your reality transforms. Thanks for joining us on the Illuminated Shelf podcast.
If you found our discussion helpful, be sure to like, subscribe, and share this episode with anyone who could use a dose of inspiration.
And remember, keep reading, keep growing, and we'll see you next time.